Hello, I'm Sean McFadden. This is Sean McFadden's I Don't Get It, and once again, I don't fucking get it. Let's talk a little bit about how badly fucked over the indigenous peoples of North America have been, shall we? Sounds like fun to me. So, they're uncovering a shitload of bodies from the residential school system, which, quite frankly, drives me insane. So here you've got these wonderful religious institutions that are working for this caring, compassionate God that are raping children, killing children, starving children, destroying children's cultural identity, all in the name of your loving, caring God. Okay, cool. Now, about a month ago or so, I heard this one priest giving a sermon about how these children are liars and they're just doing it to get more money out of the government. Really? Well, as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, I would like to say that's nothing that nobody will ever lie about. I was in my 40s when I finally started to talk about it. I'm 50 now. It was a big ugly secret for a really long time. And then, after I hear about this priest going on about how the natives are liars, because I was a big fan of the Catholic Church to begin with, which is to say not at all, I heard some fucking white guy, and I can say that as a fucking white guy myself, going on about how they don't understand how the natives can still hold all this crap from so long ago. So fucking long ago? Okay, sunshine, here's the deal. The last residential school in Canada closed in 1996. My 28-year-old daughter was 4 years old. That's not a long time ago. That's less than 25 years ago. 1996. You've got the Catholic Church hiding records. You've got the Canadian government hiding records. Suddenly all these names that used to be there, well, they never went there. It's like, it's all bullshit. Like, can we stop fucking over the natives at some point, please? You know? I love being a Canadian. Okay? I love my country. But it breaks my fucking heart every goddamn day. See, I'm going to share a little story with you. My father was a Scottish immigrant. He came over after World War II. I'm not sure precisely when he came over after World War II, but he did. You know, grew up, and my father was always somebody they called quietly racist. He didn't make all the jokes and stuff. He didn't laugh at people making fun of other races. He just didn't associate. Kind of, well, I have nothing in common with them, sort of thing, I guess. So anyway, many years later, my father hooks up with an old army buddy of his. And this guy used to try to tell all these racist jokes and shit, to try to get my dad to laugh. And my father would just shake his head at him. And they're sitting at the kitchen table drinking one day. And he's going on with his usual racist bullshit. And my dad's just sitting there drinking. And then he comes out with that one of those golden standard Indian jokes. How do you serve an Indian? Hide the welfare check under the work boots. My father went over the table and beat the absolute living hell out of his army buddy. I had in my lifetime heard my father say fuck 3 times. They all ended in epic violence. That was one of those times. So he beat the man completely fucking bloody, picked him up, and said, if you ever talk about a native like that in my presence again, I will fucking kill you. The man managed to stammer out why, what the hell's your problem? And my mother says it's quite simple. The English did the same fucking thing to us. Well, he didn't say fuck at that point because he only said it 3 times. But did the same thing to us. They took our kilts, they took our whiskey, they took our bagpipes, they took our kids to live in England so they could be raised as proper English gentlemen. Translations, forced labor. And after all that, we came to this country and did the same fucking thing to them. Right beside our former English masters. It's one of the few times in my life I can remember actually being proud of my father. But yeah, this is not ancient history. This is not, oh, so many years ago. Less than 25 years. Which also leads me to why I will never ever in my life again vote Liberal. Because a young lady from reservation paid the money, the $1,500 plate, Liberal, whatever the fuck it was, and asked the Prime Minister why it's been 20 years since they've had clean drinking water. Let's not forget that the Wyerton thing happened, and that was fixed up in a year. That was all cool because it was a white community. But here's this reservation that's had poisoned drinking water for 20 years or more, and she asked why. And our smart-ass, rich boy, fucking Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who if I ever see in person I will slap, said, we would like to thank you for your contribution. Because she paid for her ticket. Because that was the only way she could get a meeting with the Prime Minister. And all his rich buddies in the Liberal Party sat there and fucking laughed. Because there was an Indigenous person there asking for clean water. After 20 years. Had to pay $1,500 to actually speak to the Prime Minister of Canada. He who governs all Canadians. That guy? Yeah. So I would like to know when Canada is going to stop pissing on the native population. Because I was born and raised in Brantford, Ontario, and I've seen it my whole life. I moved to Cornwall, Ontario for 15 years, and I really saw it there. How about if you stop treating the first of us like the worst of us? They were the first people here. And yet they're treated like shit every fucking day. Like, for all your multi-million-dollar football, basketball, baseball players out there, would you play for a team that had a Zulu as a mascot? No. Would you play for a team that had a Watusi as a mascot? No. Because that's against your people. Any white guys out there, would you play for a team that's got a, I don't know, clan member as a mascot? Nice white pointy hat? Probably not, because then, that'd be truth in advertising. So yeah, let's stop pissing on the natives, shall we? Let's stop pretending like they all have it so good on the res. Let's stop pretending like they get these golden fucking parachutes from the government. They don't. They get less from the government than anybody else in Canada. White, black, Chinese, Filipino, anything, anybody. One of the reservations, I forget which one it was, offered to take in refugees from a refugee camp somewhere that was in really bad shape. The World Health Organization, and I quote, said that it was unfit for human habitation and refused to send the refugees. Now, if you're talking about taking people from a refugee camp and putting them somewhere else, if you can't put them on a res because it's unfit for human habitation, why the fuck do natives have to live there? Can somebody answer that question? Probably can't. Certainly not going to sit here and hold my breath about it. But yeah. And quite frankly, I don't care if what happened to those native kids happened 300 fucking years ago, or 400 years ago, or 1,000 years ago. It was genocide. Church and government sponsored genocide. Now, I understand that history is full of fucking monsters, okay? A bunch of white guys that did a bunch of really terrible shit. But you know what? There were a bunch of other guys who did a lot of terrible shit too. Everybody's got ugly chunks of history. So what we have to do is say, this bullshit happened. This really terrible, horrible shit happened. And however long ago, my people did that. You know, is there anything I can do about it? Probably not. But I can sure as fuck acknowledge it. I can say, yeah, that happened. I can say, I will do my damnedest to make sure shit like that doesn't happen again. And I can try every day to be a better person than those that came before. Because that's all we've got, is we've got to be better than those that came before. No hiding your head in the sand and saying, oh, well, yeah, we did all this, but we did all this really good stuff too. It's like, okay, you did all this really good stuff to benefit your people. You didn't do the good stuff to benefit anybody but yourselves. You put innumerable roadblocks in everybody else's way. Just, you know, enough. Because everybody's got to stop doing this me, I thing. And start doing the us thing. Because you know what, kids? There's only one race on this fucking planet. That's the human race. Everything else is an ethnic group. There are people of different ethnicities. Yes, my country of origin is Scotland. Well, my father's Scotland. My father's country of origin is Scotland. I'm a first-generation Canadian of Scottish descent. My daughter is a second-generation Canadian of Scottish ancestry. See how that works? Because her grandfather migrated to Canada, her father and her mother were born in Canada, so they were Canadians. So she's of Scottish ancestry. But we're all fucking human. We all bleed red. And we all need to figure that shit out pretty fucking quick so we can all get together and deal with the real shit. Like the fact that our planet's on fire. The fact that the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting fucked. You know, little things like that. But what do I know? Well, that's me done.